For mortgage advice tailored towards your individual needs, contact PGB Mortgages today. Let them guide you through your home buying journey. Contact details are in the description. So when we're dreaming, we think the dream's real. And that's very interesting. So I really want to explore that in this video. Because we could be flying around, we could be doing all sorts of crazy stuff. But, you know, when you wake up, you think that's ridiculous, that's crazy. But at the time, we almost perceive it as normal and our brain registers it as real. I don't know why it's, fully why it happens. I guess if you knew you were dreaming the whole time, then you wouldn't actually be able to experience the dream. Maybe that's something similar to this reality. There are certainly instances in the dream, I've had dreams where I know I'm dreaming, but a lot of the time when I'm dreaming, I think it's real. And I'm sure a lot of you have experienced dreams where you think it's real, and maybe the odd dream where you're dreaming. So why do we think our dreams are real when we're experiencing them, as ridiculous as the dream scenario may be? You might be flying and being chased down by a five-legged beast or something like that. I've got I've got a quote here that I want to read, and it says, "Your brain is activating the same nerves it does when you're awake. It is creating a conscious perception similarly to how it does when you are awake." And then somebody else says, someone asking a question here. "So by taking all sensory information and feeding into the receptors in our brain objectively, since we aren't really there, reality is being created as it's being experienced, ? And then the answer to that was, by the same person from the initial quote, "Yes, a version of reality that is best suited to helping you survive is being created as a perception for you." It's impossible for your brain to recreate reality perfectly. There's just too much to replicate, so your mind creates a much, much more simple version that actually helps you survive better than if you could perceive reality as it really were. But it's not all happening in real time. Your mind is drawing from earlier memories every time you perceive life. When you look at a tree, your mind is using colors and lines that you remember is a tree, but it's not even close to what the tree really looks like. Once you've seen a tree a million times, your mind can more easily create a perception that makes you think tree, even though most of the conscious perception is made up based off previous experiences. So that's very interesting. And I do think that our reality is very much a subjective perception. I mean, even if you want to go to the extreme lengths, you want to look at animals, and certain animals will see the world in a completely different way to human beings, like spiders or flies. They will see the world in a completely different way. Even when I was younger and everything, the world seemed so giant. And then obviously as you grow taller and you grow up, you perceive the world as a bit smaller. So it's all based on perception. But then going back to the dream scenario, the fact that we perceive our dreams as real at the time, does that mean that the dream isn't real? When we're here in this world, like in the waking reality, we perceive this as real. What's the difference? What's the difference between our brain making us believe the dream is real and our brain making us believe this is real? What is real? Are we living in a dream world? That's a question. Are we living in some sort of dream world? The same way we think our dreams are ridiculous. If we were to somehow wake up from this reality, maybe when we pass away, does our better knowing self see this is ridiculous? So these are questions that we need to ponder and think about. for me, real could be defined as an experience. So even if this isn't real, the fact that I'm able to experience it makes it real in a sense. You know, when you have relationships with people, when you have certain, I don't know, trials and tribulations in life, if those are something you are experiencing, whether you are experiencing that in a make-believe reality or a fake reality, it is real in a sense, isn't it? Because you're perceiving it and you're feeling those emotions and you're going through the trials and tribulations, whether it's in a computer game that you've been transported into, or this waking reality. I don't think real necessarily means a definitive reality. I think real can be perceived as a place that allows you to experience. So whether that place is quote unquote real, if you have a relationship with a woman, you know, that relationship could take place in a matrix, or, you know, a dream world. You know, if you had a dream that felt so real and you met a woman in that dream and fell in love, and you went through trials and tribulations, good times, bad times, that's real. You know, you're gonna see it as real. You know, you're gonna, at the time, you not when maybe when you wake up you might see it as a dream and the dream fades away, but at the time you're gonna feel that that's real. You're gonna feel that that's real at the time. So the question is, was it real? If you went through those emotions, if you had those emotions and you had those experiences in that dream, was it real? That's a question. Either way, it's interesting, isn't it, that our brain actually makes dreams seem real at the time. What do you think about what I spoke about in this video? Like the video, subscribe to the channel, leave a comment, hit the notification bell so you get a notification when I make a new video. If you appreciate my work and want to leave a donation, there's a link for that in the description. With that, enjoy the rest of your day, and I'll see you on the next one.